Okay, good morning. So we're up to Shin Cha, finishing it off today. The last two seifim of this siman says the Mechaba in Yud Tes, Litein Karkoim B'Tavshil Muta. You're allowed to put saffron, which is a spice, like a very bright red crimson spice, into food. Ve'ein lochash meloi mishum tzoveh. We're not worried about coloring. Te'ein tzavia ba'ochlin. Because the rule is there is no tzoveh, there is no coloring when it comes to food. Says the Mishnah Berurah, muta. V'chein muta litin yain odoim b'toich yain lovan. And so too, if you've got a glass of white wine, you're allowed to put white wine in it. This has relevance for Seder night. Sometimes, you want to have different types of grape juice, and the kid wants a red one or white one or whatever. So you're allowed to put red wine into white wine. V'afal pi shemis adeim, even though that will make it red. Even if that's your intention, you want to color the food. You don't have to be machmir. That is what the Prima Godim says. If you can try and avoid it, then it's better. But you shouldn't do it for just decorative purposes. It's got to be, because you want to have some white, some red wine or something like that. And aside from that, it could be of the duchal. Sometimes you want to have nice sort of colored, a vase of colored water just for decorative purposes, so that you shouldn't do. If I'm coloring water, I've got a vase of red water in the window or on the table, that is a problem. So a couple of footnotes. 48. V'chein losses tamsis tailor toich maim. So, for example, you're making a tea or a coffee on Shabbos, and you've got, say, for example, some tea essence, and you've got hot water. Pouring tea essence into hot water is going to color it, so we're not worried about that. Kosev b'shatzian le'el shemuta ve'ein lochash b'kach shamayim nitzpoim al yedei hatamtzis hoil ve'ein tzavia ba'ochlim, because the general rule is there is no coloring when it comes to liquids or to foods. Ochein kosev sham she'odiv losses tchiles hatamtzis b'kois rak. In other words, there is a minority opinion which says there is tzvia ba'ochlim, and therefore, if you've got a choice, try and avoid it. So, if you can, put the tea essence in the bottom, and then you put the water on top of it. Or, for example, you've got the red grape juice or the red wine, and you add the white wine or the white grape juice to it, then you haven't really coloured it, because it's just become a sort of a slightly lighter type of red. Mashenkin, if you've got the white wine or the white grape juice, and you add the red wine to it, then it's colouring it. So we're not machmir, we're okay to ein tzvia ba'ochlim, but if you can do it in a way that avoids it, then that is preferable. That's what comes out. And then, if you look at 49, he says, "Shekosov sham she'ikka kadas rebelezim mints, b'darkei Moshe she'also litin yain edom l'tech yain shana, etc., etc." Okay, fine. And then, the nesinas tarkiz mamutzuk sheyesh betzeva Michael l'soich mayim. Okay, we'll leave that. It's okay. So I think that's enough to know for tzivia ba'ochlim. Also, if you look at note number 50 is on the next one. Okay, good. So that's your test. So generally the rule is ein tzvia ba'ochlin, but because there is a minority opinion that says yesh tzvia ba'ochlin, if you can try and avoid it and do it the other way around, then that is preferred. Okay, sif kotzen chof. Sif chof. Yesh mi sha'omer. Sha'oichel tutim oisha pears. If someone eats berries or other types of fruits, hatzovim, which color, if your hands are sort of are colored because of the berries that you've eaten, careful not to then transfer that color onto your clothes, or onto the tablecloth, mishum tzoveh, because you're going to color your clothes or you're going to color the tablecloth. But if you're taking your bread and you're coloring your bread by dipping it into the fruit, then don't worry about that. It's ein tzvia ba'ochlin. Again, there's no concern of tzvia ba'ochlin, and therefore you've got, I don't know, some juice or some fruits or some jam or whatever, and you put your bread into it. So we're not worried that you're coloring your bread, because ein tzvia ba'ochlin. But your hands, sorry? Oh, so very good. So take a look at number 50. Let's do the Mishnah Berurah first, and then we'll take a look at the footnotes. Tzarich lizoher. Hainu, la poiskim le'el. You know what, let's just do 50 straight away, actually, because that comes first. Ulam. Kinuach lichluch b'mapis, when you're soiling a handkerchief or a napkin or something like that, das hagonim nism kareletz shemuta. Even though the napkin is changing color, you're just wiping your hands on a napkin. It's derech lichluch. You're not really coloring the napkin. That's not your intention. You just want to wipe your hands, and therefore it's lichluch and it's not a problem. Okay, good. Mishnah Berurah Sivkot and Nun Zayin. Hainu. Yeah. Aber bishnaz adov b'derech lichluch. Right.
So fruits.
So v'rag b'tzeva hanoitzim v'meitze peres hu sheseva shulchan aruch sheyesh b'mishum tzeveh v'af al pi shenasa adov b'derech lichluch. So what are you saying?
You can, and let's say if you dirty from let's say strawberries.
Sheyesh v'af al pi shenasa. Right. Yeah, so a serviette or a napkin or something like that, we're not worried about it because it's derech lichluch. But we'll see more in a second. You'll see. So it says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkot and Nun Zayin. Hainu la poiskim le'el b'sifut ches psikreish le'nichle osa. Fine. V'afal gav the mekalkel hu mikol mokem isur miu ikas. So again, what's the Mechaber said that if you've touched fruit and your hands they've got red stains on them, be careful not to touch your clothes or the tablecloth because it might stain it. And even though it's derech kilkul, mikol mokem isur miu ikah. But if you're doing it on a napkin or something like that, we said in the footnote you're not worried about it. Nunches shelo yiga va'afal gav the tzoveh ponav v'yodov. Even though when it comes to coloring your face or your hands, lekel meichish de'in tzvia ele bedova shedarka litzpoya, and you don't normally color your hands or your face. V'lo domi lesimen shin gimel siv hey de'is shom de'isha lo tavis rak al. A woman shouldn't put on some mascara or some makeup on her face because it is. So you see that it seems to contradict it. The answer is no. This is normal for a woman to do that. That is the way of a woman to put on makeup on her face. If you look at 53, when a woman does put on this on a makeup on her face, it is an issa drabon. Because there is no tzoveh on a human skin. However, he says, that actually a woman who puts on makeup on Shabbos is even is deraisa by putting makeup even on her skin. And if she puts makeup on her friends, then certainly should be over nis deraisa. So either way, there is an issa for a woman to put makeup on to color her face. Whether there's a deraisa drabon is debated. Okay, and again, there's a famous, not for now, but there's a famous machlokes whether or not a woman can put just sort of powder on her face. In other words, the bare minerals makeup that the women use nowadays. Ramosha, we spoke about, I think Ramosha was matir and others machmir. Ramosha was matir because it hasn't got oil based and it's just powder and it's very temporary and therefore it's allowed, and many are somech on that. And there are those who are machmir. It's short, generally they're more machmir. In America and England we're more makel. Because at the end of the day, there are those who feel that it is, after all, being severe. So there are different opinions about that. Certainly what to rely on, and certainly when I'm in school, in the girls' school, and they ask me about these shilas, I am makel because firstly, Ramosha, you can be semich on Ramosha, and for young ladies and for all ladies, this is a major nisayin. And if there is room to makel, then I try to do that. Okay, nuntes bivgodov. So be careful not to take this stains of your hand from the fruit and put it on your clothes because of the problem of severe. And regarding if the beged itself is red and therefore you're going to deepen the color, then for sure you shouldn't do it. The misakin, because that's improving it almost. This is all derech lichluch. The EF shall lizoy bezen. Therefore, there is room to remake it. Hatzaveh chut she'arku arba tvachim medov she'ef shall litmenu chut kazeh chayev v'davka tzeva hamiskayim. Avot tzeva she'enim miskayim klal kagoyin shehev israkoi sheshar al gabe barza. You sort of lacquer or varnish some metal a barza in the chosh tzvo parta shari oisat shemavir l'shas of ein tzaveh klum. It's very temporary and therefore we're not worried about it. Ha'isa ein tzeva kagoyin she'nosa kan kanzum l'toich me aftzov v'shenasa kol shach makes it black. Istim l'toich me karkoim you shenasa kol yarok makes it into green chayev והרייב צויבה שאין חי משום צובע, אלא כשצובע שהצבע טוב אחר. שעל ידי זה נגמר מלאכת הצבע. אבל צביעת מים, שהוא אין הצבע, לא נסין את די וסמון למתח המים, עושה משום לוש, עד כאן לשנים בקיצור. Just one final ha'ara, fascinating one, in 56 at the back. He says, he talks about photochromic lenses. So those are lenses, Baruch Hashem, it's beautiful sunshine, which automatically go dark. So he brings Rav Moshe, here it goes. It's okay. It's the back here. I'll read to you. Udin shimush mishkafayim shetzoven miskar b'shemesh v'chayza mispar b'tzel. They're out in the sunshine. Your lenses go dark, and then you go inside, and they go light again. Kos b'shal Chris Moshe she'ein b'kach. He said it's not a problem. And he quotes also Rav Shlomo Zalman, who says the same thing. Just finished with a famous ma'aser that one time, Rav Shlomo Zalman and Rabbi Yashiv were mechtonim. So Rav Shlomo Zalman's son, Rabbi Taber, was here in London a week or two ago. Married the daughter of Eliashiv. So this famous ma'aser with her, she was thinking of getting these lenses, and she went into an optician, and she said she's not sure what to do because her father, Shlomo Zalman, was matir, and Eliashiv was mach. So she's not sure what to do. Her father was maker, and then her father doesn't allow it. So the optician said to her, "What's the problem? Just go to a posek." Say that. Okay.